Welcome back to another episode of the Milwaukee Beer Review. I'm Josh.
I'm Ross.
And we're continuing our sweater weather series from Fermentorium today. So
again, we as we mentioned in the last show, Fermentorium's got two locations. They got the original location up in Cedarburg, and they got their newer location down in Wauwatosa. Both are great locations, great people. Strongly suggest you checking them out.
We'll have a link in the description of the video if you're looking for anything from them. The first experience I had with Fermentorium, actually my wife and I were celebrating an anniversary in Cedarburg, and we happened to find the Cedarburg location. I think it was back in 2016, so not long after Fermentorium opened, we stopped in. First beer we had there was Stonehearth, and I'm a huge German-style beer fan. I love a good Dunkelweizen, and Stonehearth is a fantastic one if you're interested in a beer like that. And I think they actually have some right now on their website too. So lots of good stuff there. Love trying all the new stuff.
Great variety of beer there. What we're doing today, again, we're doing the continuation of Sweller, which again is a milk stout. And the funny thing about milk stout is I actually looked into this a little bit. Milk stout was originally, when it first came out in the 1900s, early 1900s around England, Great Britain, all that. It was kind of advertised as a healthier beer.
Diet.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And the idea was with the lactose, it's milk, it has all those nutrients. This isn't the case at all. It's not a healthier beer. It has all the great flavors of milk, has none of the nutrients, none of the calcium, doesn't offer any of that. So while it's a great taste, a great beer, don't substitute this as a healthy beer.
Agree to disagree.
Whatever.
I think it's healthy. It's extremely healthy. That is what I tell everyone.
It's good for the soul.
But actually, it's funny because last year, so it's interesting, they release different variants of sweater weather every year. Last year, they actually released a cookies and cream version of the sweater weather, which was healthy. It was actually really interesting. It was probably my favorite variant of this series last year, so I'm looking forward to that one coming back, hopefully at some point in the future.
Yeah. So last time we did the base and the s'mores beer, and what do we got going on today?
We've got what they're calling ugly sweater weather. So if you're in the spirit of Christmas, which is when these beers come out, you know what that ugly sweater weather party is. So this one's a little bit interesting. This is actually the highest ABV of any of the four variants that they released this year. It's at 10.6% ABV. And this one's really interesting because it's brewed with black tea, raisins, currants, figs, and spices. So the idea behind this beer is that it kind of ends up tasting a little bit like a fruitcake, which is kind of what they're going for with this. So let's get this thing in the glass and let's try it out.
All right. Let's get this open. Not quite sure what to expect. I do expect a similar look and head as the previous beers.
I do love the can, though.
Yeah. So it might be in the way I poured it or whatever.
Definitely the way you poured it.
A lot more head.
Definitely the way you poured it.
A little aggressive there. We'll do that normally. And that's kind of more what we were expecting there. A little less head, a little more ability of what I'm doing there. It does seem a bit of a darker color.
Even with the second pour, it does look like it's maintaining a bit more head than we saw on the other two variants.
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get a little nose on this thing.
Right.
Mine's still got plenty of head. I don't know who poured this thing, but someone did. Oh, yeah, you get a lot. I mean, it's very fruity on the nose.
Yes.
Like, you get a huge burst of fruit. And I definitely get some of that, like, I think a little bit of sourness from, like, the raisins.
I'm getting the currant and the raisin definitely in there. Probably more so than anything else. And
yeah, I mean, fruitcake, I'm not a big sweets fan when it comes to, like, cakes and stuff like that, but it'll be interesting to see how this one goes down. Like
non-sweet cake.
Well, I don't like cake. Let's just call it that.
I'm very curious how this one tastes because the smell, like I'm getting a lot of that sweeter, that raisiny, that not grape, but raisiny, curranty smell to it.
It's just very fruit and raisin. Like that's what I get on the nose. All right, let's give it a shot.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
That is a more sour taste than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I know exactly what to expect out of this one. This is far off from the base and from one we had previously with the s'more. This is a very closest to a sour stout I've had in a while.
I mean, after you try it, if you smell the smell that I'm getting, and then what I'm getting on the back end after I leave it sit for a second is I get a lot of grapes.
Yeah.
Like almost like there's a twinge of wine.
Yeah, exactly.
In the beer.
It's very good.
It smells almost like there's wine in it. Now that I've tasted it and I've got kind of that grape flavor on the back end, like when I smell it, I get a little bit of wine on the nose.
When you think of a milk stout, this is not actually what you're going to think of. This is, it's got a sweetness, but it's a sour to it and everything, which is a very unique taste, a very unique flavor, and it adds some very very different beer than I think I was expecting, because I saw the figs, I saw the raisins, I saw fruitcake. I'm expecting a dessert beer. I wouldn't say this is a dessert beer at all.
I would say it's a dessert beer. Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, and it's everyone has their own taste, right? But I definitely see this as I don't see myself like picking this up and being like, yeah, I'm gonna have a fruitcake beer tonight, like just for fun. I mean, it's got its place. It's got its place. You would?
I would. I get what you're saying. I see where it's coming from. But that sourness to this, that the figs and the raisins, the spices they're adding it's a very unique taste, and that sour stout is not an overly popular style. It's something I've only seen a couple of times at breweries, and it's something I truly enjoy. So this is definitely a preference thing between you and I at this point.
I'll give the brewery a ton of credit for nailing what this is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think, and I'll give them a lot of credit for taking a base beer like where Sweater Weather sits, the base beer, and where this leads you to, like totally different spectrums.
Absolutely.
And that's actually pretty awesome when you look at a variant series. So I like that.
Yeah.
Well, the next one that we have is the last one, and this is the one that I was looking most forward to. I've had this. You have not.
I have not.
We're big barrel aged stout fans, so this one is the Car Bomb Sweater Weather. So this one actually comes in a little bit under the Ugly Sweater Weather at 10.1% ABV. But the interesting thing about this is they take their 2019 base Sweater Weather, so that comes out every year. This year they took the 2019 base and they mixed it with the 2020, but that 2019 beer was barrel aged. So very interesting combination. The other piece of it, if you've ever had an Irish Car Bomb before, they add a little bit of Irish cream to this as well to kind of give it that traditional Irish Car Bomb.
This one's going to be interesting. I'm very curious how this one's going to taste.
So let's get it in the
glass. All right, let's get this one open. If I can pour it better this time.
There you go.
A little less aggressive.
Yep.
Similar to what we've been seeing so far. Small head. Not overly dark. Nice, a little transparent, but nice brown tan color.
Yeah, looks good.
All right.
Looks like the rest of them. Nice job this time, Ross.
Better.
Let's get a little nose on this
All right,
thing.
let's do it.
So what's interesting about this beer, actually you go first because I've had this.
So, considering this is a barrel-aged stout, I was expecting a little more bourbon. I smell much more of that Irish cream. That is the one thing that's coming out to me up on the nose right away.
I do get a little bit of Irish cream, but a little bit. And I wonder if part of the reason for that is the Ugly Sweater Weather is so pungent. Going to this, it almost feels like there's nothing on the nose to me with this beer. I do get a little bit of Irish cream though on the nose, a little bit.
I'm getting the Irish cream. I'm definitely smelling that. Some chocolate smell too. Irish cream with some chocolate.
So keep in mind, this is the base Sweater Weather with some barrel aging and then a combination of last year's and this year's. So, all right,
let's
give it a shot.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Oh, that's really good. That's smooth.
Yeah.
That's
like the interesting thing about this beer is if you're looking for a true bourbon barrel aged stout, this is not it.
Exactly.
It's definitely not. But this is, if I'm looking for, if I want to transition into some of those more powerful beers, like this would be a perfect transition beer into something like that, because this is smooth beyond smooth and creamy, and you do get some of those bourbon barrel notes, some of the roasty, oaky flavors to this beer, more on the back end than the front. I think the front is more Irish cream, and the back you get a little bit more barrel aging tone to the beer, but it's light, right? I mean, it's very, very very light in comparison to what a traditional bourbon barrel aged beer would be like.
The weird thing with this beer, and given my way, is this smells exactly how it tastes. I smell that cream. That was the first thing that came forward. You take a sip of that, and you taste that cream immediately, and it's very smooth. It's very flavorful. I like your point about saying this is a nice kind of bridge beer from your normal stouts to your barrel aged. That's a great point, because this is exactly what that is. You get a little bit of that bourbon taste in the back end, but it's not up front. It's not overpowering. And it would be a very good beer if you are trying to get into that. That is a fantastic point on your part.
Yeah, I mean, great beer. It kind of fits, like you said, in those two different molds, and a great transition beer. I really like this just because it's easy to drink. It doesn't have that bite. If you're scared of those bourbon barrel aged stouts where it's like, oh my god, I'm not a bourbon or a whiskey fan, like this is an easy, almost training wheels style version of that.
That's a good way of going.
If you're really kind of looking at it from that perspective. So, really tasty beer.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So, that kind of ends our sweater weather review. I guess we should probably figure out where we'd throw these on Untappd before we close out. So,
absolutely.
I would say the ugly sweater weather, I'm putting that around a 3.5, only because it's such a unique taste and unique flavor to that. I have to be in the mood for that. That's a good beer. I mean, from the perspective of a variant in a series like this, I like it, but I put that at a 3.5. The Car Bomb, I'm putting at a 4.5, and I'm putting it at a 4.5 because, you know, it for an imperial milk stout to kind of add that component of bourbon barrel age brewing to this type of beer and this base beer. It's great. I mean, it's like I said, a great transition beer, and I really like it. I'll put it at a 4.5.
So what's great about this is I think you and I have very similar taste in beer, and we tend to normally agree on things, and this is an instance where there's a slight taste or difference in preference. I have the Ugly Sweater at 4.5.
Wow.
I think it's a great beer. I have had a few soury stouts, and I think it's a great style. It's kind of a nice combination of both things, and they're shockingly refreshing for being somewhat of a heavier beer. And so I love that beer. I love what it has going for it. That wine taste is just spectacular. So that's definitely really high on my list. And again, that's a preference thing. The Car Bomb, I'm going to stick at about 4.25. Again, very, very good. I love that Irish cream taste you get out of it. I like kind of like, again, going back to it, that's bridge of being somewhat a barrel aged, but not really. It's kind of got that sweeter taste to it. Overall, two great beers. As much as I love the previous two, these two just rank slightly above those, and they're very, very good. And if you like kind of that sour beer, but you don't like the over sourness, I think the Ugly Sweater is a great, great beer for you.
Yeah, seems fair. Awesome, man. Well, great beers again. Fermentorium, you can find them at thefermentorium.com. We'll definitely make sure we put that link in the description of this video. We're going to be doing more videos, obviously, as we've said, moving forward. So some more great Milwaukee breweries and great Milwaukee beers coming here. Be on the lookout for those and stay tuned. Like, subscribe, comment as usual. And again, if you've got any thoughts or you've got thoughts on these new variants that we've tried here, definitely let us know in the comments. Look for us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've got all of those available to you, and we'll be posting our reviews on Untappd here as well.
Absolutely.
So, again, Happy New Year, Happy 2021. Looking forward to continuing to provide some of these great reviews for you guys as we move forward through the year. So have a great one.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.